I'm Marco Werman. This is The World. A sun-splashed island in the southern Caribbean Sea figures in today's GeoQuiz. It could be described as a transcontinental island. It's located off the coast of Venezuela in South America, but it's also one of the islands in the West Indies, which are considered part of North America. This island also has a dual identity as an autonomous part of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. And now some islanders have stepped forward to honor rock and roll legend Peter Frampton. Can you name it? Not the tune, the island. All right, the tune is Do You Feel Like We Do? Peter Frampton was recently reunited with that very guitar you're hearing right now. Ghatim Kabbara helped make it happen. He runs a tourism board in Curaçao, the Caribbean island. That's the answer to our GeoQuiz today. Ghatim, start by describing this guitar for us.
It's a beautiful guitar. It's a 1954 Gibson Les Paul custom, and it's a guitar that was given to Peter Frampton in 1970, and he lost it in 1980. It is the guitar of the decade, the guitar that Peter Frampton took with him everywhere, played on his best albums, and it is just a beautiful guitar. I've held the guitar in my hands, and I can totally understand why he totally loves this guitar.
Right, and he didn't just lose it in a taxi. He didn't leave it somewhere in a bus station. Tell us how he lost it.
No, in fact, the way he lost it was much more dramatic than that, and after finishing a concert in Caracas in Venezuela, he was flying over to Panama to continue with his tour.
This is in November 1980.
This was in 1980, that's right. He left in one plane and had all his equipment left in another plane, in a cargo plane. On takeoff, the plane crashed and burned in Caracas. That's when Peter was informed about, the people who lost their lives and, all the equipment being lost as well. And, it was a very sad moment for him.
And Ghatim, tell us the story of how the guitar was found, because it's really the stuff worthy of a treasure hunt.
Well, someone apparently rescued the guitar from the burning plane. Apparently, it was the only thing that was rescued from the burning plane. Apparently, the guitar then got sold to a Curaçao musician who brought it to Curaçao. And, the guitar has been here in Curaçao all these years.
But nobody knew it.
Nobody knew it. And it appeared 2 years ago when a custom officer that we have here, Donald Valentina, who is someone who also loves guitars and he collects vintage guitars and he fixes guitars for friends as a hobby. They brought the guitar to him, to get fixed. And then he recognized the guitar.
Yeah, it's pretty recognizable. I mean, aside from being a great-looking Gibson Les Paul, it's got 3 electric pickups on it. Peter had it kind of styled for his own uses.
Exactly. He had it styled. So when Donald saw the guitar, he knew, he investigated it, and he was totally convinced. And for 2 years, he's been trying to buy the guitar from the musician. But the musician never had a reason to sell the guitar. He was happy with the guitar. Of course, it's a beautiful guitar. And he was playing it, at hotels and bars and here on the island, and nobody knew.
But you seem to believe that it was worth the trouble to get it back to him. You got the guitar back, and then you traveled to Nashville last month to give it to Peter Frampton. What was that like?
An act of destiny, really. I think it was just, being a musician myself and knowing how much I love my guitars, I could only imagine what this could be to somebody like Peter Frampton, to get his guitar back. And, after we saw everything and we really studied the guitar, we were convinced this was Peter Frampton's guitar. And I wanted to make sure that Curaçao gave back Mr. Peter Frampton back his guitar because, we understood that there were other people, because the musician finally decided to sell it. So there were other people who were also interested. So we wanted to make sure we moved quickly on it, because if it fell and probably in someone else's hands, this guitar would have never gotten back to its original owner. We moved very quickly and we made sure that we secured the guitar so that we could eventually, give it back to Peter.
So what was his reaction when, you handed him the guitar?
we met him in his hotel room in Nashville, and you could see it in his face. He was very excited. He was still very cautious at the beginning. He was like, really, okay, who are these guys, and why, is this really my guitar, And he's heard many stories already,
Right.
But the first thing we did, Donald told him, listen, Mr. Frampton, please, just before you open the guitar bag, just hold it in your hands. Just feel the weight. Because obviously this guitar is very special because of the weight it has also. Gibson Les Pauls are very heavy guitars.
Right.
But
not this one.
Not this one. This one, he just felt it in his hands. He carried it, and he smiled. And when he smiled, we all kind of like, phew, we felt a sign of relief. And then when he opened the bag, he immediately when he opened the bag, he put the guitar in his lap, and he just lifted his head up and said, "This is my guitar." And he just kept looking at it, and he was speechless for a while because he couldn't believe it.
Well, Peter Frampton played this Gibson Les Paul on the best-selling live album of all time, Frampton Comes Alive. Is there a track that you really like on there?
I would love for you to play the whole album. Yeah, just do a whole day of that album.
Okay.
He definitely was one of those guitarists during the 70s that, showed, what an amazing instrument the electric guitar could be. There's a lot of debate out there whether he is one of the best or not. But, you got to give Peter the credit that he deserves. And I think if this good karma came around, it's for a reason.
Well, we'll go out with what is possibly the anthem from Frampton Comes Alive, Show Me the Way.
I want you.
Ghatim Kabbara, head of the tourist board of the Caribbean island of Curaçao, the answer to our Geo Quiz today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you guys here in Curaçao, and it's definitely a way of us showing the kind of people we are here and our love for music and how we want to share, our goodwill with the rest of the world. No?
Fantastic.
Well, I wonder if I'm dreaming. I feel so unashamed.
Thank you also to all who played our GeoQuiz texting game today, especially Mitchell in Miami, Asha in Los Angeles, Rohan in Brooklyn, and Danielle in Fort Campbell, Kentucky. They all came up with the answer, Curaçao. You can play along next time. Just text GeoQuiz, one word, to 69866. From the Nan and Bill Harris studios at WGBH in Boston, I'm Marco Werman. We'll be back tomorrow. Until then, you can find us online at theworld.org.